Democrat Party polling is so bad that even CNN admits that it's the worst in their history. In fact, DNC chair Ken Martin was asked about this on Fox News, and he looked really uncomfortable, dare I say desperate, as he attempted to spin his way out of these dismal polling numbers.
Out that we have work to do, and that's why I'm here. It's why I ran for the job. It wasn't as a result of just one single election. I've seen for some years now us continue to lose ground with many parts of our coalition, and so it doesn't surprise me where we're at. But guess what? When you hit rock bottom, there's only one direction to go, and that's up. And that's what we're doing, right? We're building the type of organization we need to win now and to win the future. And yes, you've heard me talk about this when I ran for this position. We do have a brand problem. Last spring, there was research that showed for the first time ever, and it was really the canary in the coal mine, in my belief, that the majority of Americans believe that the Republican Party best represents the interests of the working class and the poor, and the Democratic Party is the party of the wealthy and the elites. And sure enough, the only two groups that we overperformed with in the last election cycle, college-educated voters and wealthy households. That's a damning indictment on our party brand, and we do have a brand challenge there.
Ken, I wouldn't be so sure that you've hit rock bottom. There's always lower to go. Just ask Congress. Just ask Monica Lewinsky. I mean, there's no guarantee that this is rock bottom. So it's not a guarantee that your polling numbers can only go up. Next, he talks about how it's really just a branding, a marketing problem, as if it's not their policies, it's not the direction that's the root cause of their struggles right now. So it's very clear he's doubling down on dumb. He's doubling down on this terrible strategy that the Democrats have to run as far left as they can. We can say whatever we want about David Hogg, right? He was the vice DNC chair that they kicked out, that Ken Martin helped stab in the back, but at least I'll give him credit. David Hogg at least understood there was a problem in the party. He was attempting to do something different. Meanwhile, Ken Martin, it's very clear he's keeping the train. He's keeping the ship. He's keeping whatever vehicle analogy you want to do on the same route. Well, this is not going well for Ken Martin. According to Politico, his critics are describing him as weak, whiny, and invisible. And, I know there's a lot of angst against the Wall Street Journal right now, but again, I like using left-wing sources sometimes because when they show something bad for the Democrats, you know that the reality of it is even worse. And according, fresh, hot off the press this morning to the Wall Street Journal, the Democrat Party has just gotten their lowest rating from voters in the last 35 years. As you can see, the net approval rating for the Democrats supposedly at -30 versus a little over -10 for the Republicans. Well, even on CNN, they are mirroring this total collapse of the Democrat Party, and they admit it is the lowest polling for Democrats in all of CNN's history.
There's this new CNN polling out today that says quite a bit. Just 28% of Americans view the Democratic Party favorably. And the context of that is the lowest mark for Democrats in the history of CNN's polling going back to 1992. And for Democrats, they have a lot more work to do to win back favorability within their ranks, within the party, than Republicans do.
Massive. And it's been a steady drip, drip, drip for Democrats. I mean, ever since USAID has gone away, it's funny how the Democrats just seem to be getting in worse and worse position, right? Like, we now know that Media Matters is struggling. And, organizations like Media Matters, they certainly help Democrats. Sure, they're bulldogs that attempt to attack Republicans, but they also boost up Democrat candidates and Democrat causes. So this really is an entire struggle right now. But one of the things that's starting to hurt them is actually these new emails from DNI Tulsi Gabbard. She revealed in unclassified documents proving that Barack Obama was behind Russiagate, or at least involved in it, and helped instigate that entire hoax against not just President Trump, but quite frankly, the American people. And so, you've basically had this narrative on the left for all these years, and then the people on the right were called conspiracy theorists, and now it's being shown, it's being proven in real time for people, for everyone, to see that the conspiracy theorists were right yet again. Well, Barack Obama is working overtime, or at least his staffers are working overtime, to make sure that this news doesn't break into the mainstream. So NBC first reported Tulsi Gabbard's treason allegation triggers a high wire act from Obama World. What's really interesting, because what Tulsi Gabbard declassified, and by the way, if you missed my previous videos on this, you'll want to go back and check them, because it's not just me talking. I'm actually going through these documents. She released 42 pages, as well as, off the top of my head, I think it was like 114 pages that were declassified, maybe 116. And you can go through and see the emails, see who sent them, who received them, the specific dates of these meetings. And it in fact includes media outlets. So we know that the Democrat Party apparatus, I mean, there's a reason people call them the mockingbird media, right? But we know that people from the Obama orbit have very strong ties to the media and can control, or at least put pressure on, what the media covers. This was also confirmed, by the way, by the Daily Caller. Team Obama quietly trying to stop Americans from hearing about Russiagate revelations. Now, how can you stop them from hearing about it? We have social media. Oh, yeah. You can stop them by pressuring your friends, your buddies, whatever connections you have in legacy media. Well, in this NBC article, quote, "The battle is now to play this even, to make sure that thoughts don't start to creep into more mainstream audiences," a former Obama administration official said. That person said it was important to reach, quote, "mainstream Republicans," unquote, who would listen to editorial boards and those in Congress who deemed the allegations against Obama as beyond the pale. So this does suggest that not only was Obama and, or at least Obama orbit associates putting pressure on the media back when he was in office, but they're still doing it to this day. In fact, DNI Tulsi Gabbard, or at least the DNI social media account, called out the New York Times and the Washington Post. And I'll zoom in on this. You can see both the Washington Post and the New York Times did not mention any of these newly declassified documents. Over the course of Russiagate, how many front page stories did we see that were based on anonymous sources? Yeah, they won Pulitzer Prizes because of their stories based on anonymous sources. Now you have newly declassified information, government documents that have been suppressed and hidden from the public. We know these are official documents, and yet you won't run a single story on it. It shouldn't surprise us. But this is why, as more of this leaks out, sure, it makes Obama look bad, but it also verifies the fact that there's been a conspiracy, many conspiracies on the left side of the aisle. Doesn't make you crazy to admit it. It's just a look at reality. So no wonder their approval ratings, no wonder their poll numbers are plummeting. Now, it would be one thing if their poll numbers were tanking and the Republicans were equally as bad, right? Or President Trump's were equally as bad. But that's not the case. Well, President Trump just flew to Scotland, and Scotland, from what I understand, is more left than we are. In fact, some people say that they're more left than the Democrat Party, especially when you take a look at the fact that they have universal health care, free education. I mean, they really are, politically speaking, on the left side of the aisle. Well, despite all of that, when President Trump went to Scotland yesterday, take a look at all of these people waiting just to see Air Force One touch down, or Trump Force One, I should say. Yeah, a ton of people. It would be one thing if all of them started booing, but they did not boo. Rather, they all started cheering as Trump's plane approached the runway. Keep in mind that we've been told that President Trump is a laughingstock. The rest of the world hates him and they hate America because of him. Well, if that's true, if Scotland is a left-leaning country, then why were so many people cheering him on? That wasn't even the impressive part. The impressive part was once the motorcade left the airport and the roads were filled with Scottish people just cheering, and some of them jumping up and down with joy for President Trump. But before I get to that, I would like to acknowledge Kathleen Aid, 1775, Robert Stevens, always great to see you, Robert, MBFQ, 5HF as the members of today's Governors Club. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am so glad that you enjoy. Well, even the BBC had to cover just the crowds lining up to see this motorcade. Now, BBC did not show the full extent of it, so I'm going to be honest and say that I'm going to overlay some pictures because they don't really show or change the camera angle, and I guess they didn't have cameras where the crowds actually were. So I'm going to put pictures on top at some points. I just want to be very clear that I'm not intentionally trying to manipulate this or mislead, but here's what the BBC reported.
As well as meeting world leaders. And here it comes. The presidential motorcade.
Just shows how many people are travelling with him, Regina, doesn't it? Shows how many people are travelling with him, the sheer number of vehicles that are arriving.
It does indeed. I was just wondering if we could actually listen in to hear any of the cheers. It looks like most of the people lining the streets are waving. I'm quite pleased that he's here, but of course some protesters as well. And yeah, we did have a list of some of the officials that he was on the plane with, Martine, as you mentioned there. It's Press Secretary.
It's funny, right, how the BBC put their cameras. If you take a closer look at that footage, they were only by the protesters. They acknowledged that there were a lot of people cheering, but they didn't actually show any cheers. That's why I had to superimpose those images. But the people that they were showing were protesting over Epstein. That's what you saw there, Trump with Epstein on their, it looked like printed out flyers and printed out poster boards. Yeah, they had to say the truth in their audio and what they were saying, but anyone watching the screen, they'd be like, oh, what's going on there? So, but that's how the mainstream media works, even across the pond. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So obviously the pendulum swings back and forth. It always does. It's not going to stay Republican forever. And when it goes back to the Democrats, inevitably, it's not going to stay Democrat forever. Well, Ken Martin claims that they've hit rock bottom and the only way they have to go is up. Do you agree with him? Do you think they've hit rock bottom, or do you think that that floor is lower and can go lower? Let me know your thoughts, your predictions down in the comments below. I've actually gotten I've gotten even more feedback on my question of the day 2 videos ago, talking about would you prefer rebate from President Trump's tariffs or more for it to go towards the national debt? And more comments kept flooding in as I revealed the results of that. The initial results were about 60% for the rebate and 40% for paying off the debt. And even as more comments have come in, it's just been staying steady at that 60% for the rebate. Even from people who are traditionally fiscally conservative, they'll put notes in their comments like, look, I'm all for paying the debt, but I understand people are in hard times right now, especially after the last 4 years. And so it's one of those things where even though people disagree, people can acknowledge the feelings and the logic and just, where people are coming from on the other side. And I think that's a great thing to see, just understanding where people are coming from and not judging them because of it. I think it's super cool. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.